In today's video, we have some reasons why you're still waiting on your 2025 tax refunds according to TurboTax, and some of these tips you can use moving forward to make sure you get your tax refund timely. We also have the next direct deposit date and much more, so make sure you stay tuned for all of the details. But before we begin, as always, welcome back, everyone. So very happy to have you back for another IRS update. Now let's recap. Normally you can expect to get your tax refund up to 21 days after you e-file your tax return, 6 weeks or more for returns sent by mail, and longer if your tax return need corrections. And you can also expect to get amended tax returns up to 16 weeks after you file that amended tax return. Now let's continue with some of the tips shared by TurboTax as to why you may still be waiting on your tax refund. Number one is computation errors on your tax return. Some of the most common calculation errors include taxable amount of Social Security income, child and dependent care credit, errors in the amount of taxes withheld, estimated taxes paid, the earned income tax credit, or the increased standard deduction for certain taxpayers also frequently result in computation errors on your tax return. Moving on, Social Security mismatch can also be a reason. Part of the IRS process for verifying tax return information is ensuring the Social Security number and name combination on tax returns matches the information in the Social Security Administration database, and a mismatch can delay the processing of your tax return. Also, filing a tax return early or late can affect the time frame. You may be anxious to receive your tax refund, but sometimes, according to TurboTax, filing early can work against you. And that is because changes to the tax code or procedures often happen at the last minute, and refunds can be delayed while the IRS updates their tax software to reflect these changes. And these delays are usually minimum but can be avoided by waiting until the third or fourth week of the year to file your tax return. So you may want to use this tip moving forward in the 2026 tax filing season. You may want to wait a little while before filing your 2025 tax return. Now, filing at the last minute can also delay your tax return, according to TurboTax, if you file on paper due to the sheer volume of people filing at the same time. Now, later filing also increases the possibility that you will fall victim to identity theft, where someone uses your Social Security number to file a fake tax return and claim the refund before you. The IRS delays processing returns bearing a Social Security number that has already been filed. So if you file first, the scammer will be out of luck. Your refund can be delayed for several months while the IRS verifies your information and tracks down the fraudulent tax return. So you also don't want to file too late to avoid processing delays. Now, also incorrect direct deposit information can delay your tax refund. The fastest way to receive your refund is to e-file a correct tax return and to request direct deposit. A simple mistake in the routing or account number can delay a refund for weeks, even months. The IRS will then issue you a paper check once the deposit is rejected or returned by the bank. Also, filing a paper tax return can delay the processing of your tax refund. Even if everything on your tax return is accurate, filing on paper means it will take longer for you to receive your refund. The IRS estimates that refunds from electronically filed returns will be sent within 3 weeks. It may take up to 6 weeks, however, to send you your refunds if you file on paper. Amending your tax return. If you made an error on your original tax return, you may need to amend that tax return. And according to TurboTax, amending your tax return won't affect your original refund. And you might want to wait to amend a tax return because the IRS usually correct minor mathematical errors and process your tax return and adjust the refund accordingly. So sometimes it is best to wait before amending your tax return because simple errors the IRS will correct, adjust your return, and send you your tax refund timely. Now, how long can a tax refund be delayed? Well, according to TurboTax, since there are several reasons your tax refund could be delayed, there's no standard timeline for when you can expect the issue to be resolved. A tax refund could be delayed weeks or even months, and in some cases, the length of the delay may depend on how backed up the IRS is on processing tax returns, as well as whether the IRS requests additional documentation from you and how quickly you respond to the request for additional information. Now, according to the IRS website, they are currently processing paper returns, original 1040 tax returns, received original August of 2025, and amended received June of 2025. And for tax form 1040 returns, they are currently processing original received August of 2025 and amended received January of 2025. And these are paper returns, and this does not include those that require correction or additional review. Now, in terms of letters and notices, if you had to provide additional information to the IRS, they are currently processing correspondence received June of 2025. So expect delays in updating your additional information. Now, in terms of the total numbers and where the IRS is, they still have not updated the data for the 2025 tax filing season since May 9, 2025. And if you're still waiting on your tax return to be processed, you may receive updates like this particular one on the WMR stating that we have received your tax return and we are reviewing it. If we need additional information, we will mail a notice with further instructions. If you have already received a notice, the IRS states to please follow the instructions on that notice. If they determine that no additional information is needed, they will continue to process your tax return and issue your refund. Now, for the good news, the next direct deposit date shared is September 29, 2025. Make sure to check your IRS online transcript for updates as well as the WMR, and make sure you check for your interest. If the IRS process your tax return 45 days after the due date, they will be paying you interest, and that interest is 7% compound daily, and the interest will be included with your tax refund. Now let's go over an example of an amended tax return, the time frame. As you can see, this particular amended tax return was received April 30th, 2025, adjusted August 1st, 2025, and the IRS completed it September 1st, 2025. That is way beyond the 16 weeks. So if you are still waiting on the processing of your amended tax return, know that the IRS can take up to 16 weeks, or it may be delayed even further than that. It all depends on the IRS backlog or what the issue is with your amended tax return. You can contact the IRS at 1-800-829-1040, and you can contact the Taxpayer Advocate Service for assistance as well, especially if you are experiencing financial hardship due to your tax refund being delayed. You can contact them at 1-877-777-4778. 8. You can also schedule an in-person appointment by calling 844-545-5640. You can also contact your local state representative by going to house.gov, put in your zip code, finding your representative, and you can contact them to receive assistance in finding out what the delay is. So make sure to explore all of these options to find out what is causing the tax refund delay. And don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and come back for more 2025 tax refund updates and breaking news. Bye-bye.